On this program, we continue our conversation with Her Excellency Sonia Guzmán. She's the ambassador from the Dominican Republic to the United States. Early in her career, Ambassador Guzmán served as Vice Rector of the Pontifical Catholic University in Santiago, and later served as the Dominican Republic's Secretary of Industry and Commerce. Ambassador Guzmán is the daughter of the late President of the Dominican Republic, Antonio Guzmán. So investment from outside is playing a big role in the economy now, huh?
Yes, and that helped us to recover very quickly from the pandemic and the tourism too. So we are recover all the employment we lost in the tourism, in the pandemic, with tourism and investment. And our government made a very great work with the pandemic, because they took all the areas, the tourism areas, and full vaccinated, and made a very strict protocol. So in that zones, we didn't have too long the pandemic. So,
is it safe and healthy now?
Yes, we are in the rate of CDC.
CDC?
CDC. They have, the countries have rates, 5, and we are in number 1. It's safety, completely safe.
Wow. I gather that tourism is so special for the country. And whether it's the beaches, the resorts, the weather, the people.
Yes.
I understand, so welcoming, huh?
Yes, and the food also.
Oh, the food as well?
Yes, well, it's good.
And the music, as you mentioned.
The music and all that. I can tell you a history that for the Independence Day, we had a concert here in the Kennedy Center for our friends and the diplomatic corps and the Dominican community. And we brought a violinist to make a concert, a Dominican one, because I said that people should see something different, not merengue, not salsa, but a concert with fine music. So it was very, very strange,
but very well received.
Oh, of course,
very well received. So we've covered a little bit about the democracy. We've talked a little bit about the economy.
Yes.
This was something that I read in passing. What is the new relationship, something with Dominican Republic, Panama, and also Costa Rica?
Yes.
What's going on there?
That was an idea of the Dominican Republic to make a joint venture for development in the democracy.
Development in democracy.
In democracy. So it's called the Union for Development in Democracy, because we thought that those 3 countries were example of democracy and long democratic governments, history of long democratic governments. Costa Rica, as you know, is a very strong democracy. Also Panama and our democracy, the same.
When we talk about democracy, because that's a topic that's being discussed here in the United States right now, it's not only just the voting, the counting of the votes.
No, not at all.
The transfer of power.
No.
Talk a little bit more about that.
The democracy is represented by the values. The values.
The values.
The values, democratic values. Human rights. Liberty. Of expression, all kind of.
Yeah, freedoms, yes.
Rights. To health, to school, to education. All those values, they need to be a good citizen, to respect the law, to work in the correct way. All those values is democracy, are democracy.
But is it true, and I'm so fascinated that we're talking about this, that we take so much of that for granted?
That's correct.
You know, just going about our days.
It's a democratic country.
We can go where we want. We can say what we want. We can.
And that's so common for us.
Yes.
That we don't give the correct value.
The values, yeah.
The correct ranking.
Yes.
Of those values we have, and that we have to keep them, because we have strange cultures that are coming in that doesn't have those values. That's why we call that they are not democratic.
So when they come in from the outside, they're not expecting or taking part in that citizenship that you mentioned,
Yes.
The protection of the values. Huh?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And we have to learn to keep those values, to share those values, and to be strong together as countries to keep those values. Yeah. And the United States, as a big democracy with such a long tradition in democracy, should keep those values, should help to keep those values in Latin America. So,
you put your finger exactly where I wanted to go. But let me just take a little break. Tell the folks we're having this incredibly important and fascinating conversation with the ambassador from the Dominican Republic, Sonia Guzmán. Just a fascinating conversation. Take a little break. Back on the other side. This is America and the World. This is America and the World is made possible by the Japan-America Society of Washington, D.C., the Republic of Uzbekistan, the Sultanate of Oman, the Kingdom of Morocco, 21st Century Citizenship, the Frank Islam and Debbie Dreisman Foundation, the Forerunner Foundation, the Rotondaro Family Trust, and the Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy. Ambassador, this drill down, as we say in America, drill down a little bit more on this idea of the democracy, and we seem to be at a point in history where the autocracies are on one side of the street and the democracies on the other side of the street. And we see some of that in Europe. Some of that is being played out here. And then, of course, in Latin America. Please, tell us.
I think that sometimes people in countries get confused. And that's a bad signal. Because in that confusion, sometimes those countries that want to help Latin America give money with some interest. It's not for free.
Strings attached.
Yes.
As we say.
That's correct. And, you know, I know that the United States has a lot of problems trying to, for example, now with the Ukrainian crisis, the war, Putin war, and that's comprehensive that they don't turn to Latin America. But when you think that in Latin America, just in the neighborhood of the United States, that for me represent those values, democracy, the democracy, with those values inside that, that concept. And you think what's happening in few countries in 50 years that are missing those values.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be aware
Mm-hmm.
and careful. And you have to change something that is not working in those years, didn't work in those
Because
years.
our attention was focused Iraq, Afghanistan, and as you say now,
Yes,
rightly,
and
Ukraine.
sometimes that democracy in Latin America, they took it for granted.
Mm-hmm. Ah, they took it for granted. They took the democracy for granted. And then all of a sudden, it evaporates.
Yes, evaporation of that. And I think it's time to change a little bit.
Refocus.
Yes, the focus has to be changed. For example, I think that the recovery of the pandemic and now with the broken of change of production and all that in the economy part of all our countries, I think that the United States has to be a very big ally of the Latin American countries to help them to be the leader of helping those countries to get on and to recover from that bad moment with ideas, with challenges, with innovations, and there's multiple ways. And I think that the Summit for the Americas now in California, that will be in June, is a good moment.
For the United States to step up to the plate, as we say.
To the Americas.
Yes.
And to be a real bloc to defend democracy.
Let's take some time because we have just had such a wonderful conversation in so many areas. Get to know you a little bit. One of the things that jumped out as I was reading your biography, it said Pontifical Catholic University.
Yes.
Part of your...
My life.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the same as the Catholic University of
Santo
America here?
Yes, it's more or less, yes.
Which is my alma mater.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
I said there was a connection.
The thing with Pontificia and a Catholic university, the difference is that the Pontificia depends directly from the Pope.
Yep.
Yeah. But
so it's a papal university.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And but I spent my whole life since I graduate. I made my postgrad and all that. I just went back and worked there all my life. And my husband too. My husband passed away, but he was a professor and he accompanied. We were two professors all the time in the Pontificia Universidad.
What drew you to the library world?
Well, I began to work after I graduated from high school. I was 18, 19. I wasn't clear what I wanted.
You too, huh? You too.
So I began to work there in the library as assistants of, to do whatever. And I met a librarian there, the Spanish librarian, that was giving service there. And I was fascinated with the work, the world you open in that career. And I decided to study library science.
My mother was a librarian.
Oh, wonderful.
In a junior high school.
Wonderful.
And she used to say, and this would be a compliment to you, she used to say the two most unused and undervalued people are librarians and pharmacists.
That's correct.
Because they know everything. They know everything. So all you have to do is ask them.
Yes, and now with the technology, but it happens to be that I only work in the library science world 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
Then
yes.
I jumped to other fields and I did a little bit of everything.
Yes. Now your dad was the president.
The president, Guzmán, yes.
Of the country.
Yes.
So you came up. Did you work for your dad?
Yes.
Did you?
I was working. I did campaign with him and my husband too. It's a very, very funny thing because I was working with in the university and my husband too. We were just married with a little bit, 2 kids.
Two at the time.
Yes. And my father said, I want you to work for me in the campaign. I said, listen, I cannot live without the salary of the university. So I come with you. I ask for permission and my husband too, if you pay us the same that in the university. So he says, okay, a deal.
You're a good negotiator already. Good negotiator.
So I worked with him and then I went to the government.
Is it hard? You read articles sometimes that it's hard growing up being the child of somebody who's famous and in the public eye.
Yes, it's very hard, very hard. My husband suffered a lot on that because he didn't like politics.
He didn't like politics?
No, so he went into politics because of my father. He lost his father very young, and my father was like his
father, yes.
And he went into politics because of him. But he used to say, no, Sonia, I don't like politics.
Now, you mentioned at the young age there were a couple of kids. Are there 4?
They're four.
And what did they end up doing? What kind of things are they?
I have one engineering, agronomic engineering.
Okay.
One civil engineering.
Whoa.
One lawyer as my husband. And one artist. She used to sing. She was a soprano, but she is in the diplomatic world. So she's in Argentina working for the embassy of Argentina. 10 years she has. She's married with an Argentinian from Buenos Aires.
Oh, wow.
And the other kids are in Dominican Republic. So I have one that likes politics.
One, just one.
Just one. The eldest.
Tell me, so there were 3 boys and 1 girl.
One girl, yes.
As I recall. The relationship, talk a little bit about the relationship between the Dominican Republic and the United States, because that's your domain. That's your world.
Yes. I think that we have a very good relation. For us, is our principal partner, a friend, even though in the history we had 2 invasions in the 1916 and 1965. But was because in internal problems of the Dominican Republic.
So the United States came into
the 1916 was longer, but 1965 was very, very short. And then, put democracy again, because was a civil war that we were into, and that helped to negotiate and to reinsert in democracy again. So was a friendly intervention.
Okay.
So we, as I said to someone, I'll tell you. Someone asked me 2 or 3 days ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, for a program too. What are the embassy, how the embassy work to equilibrate the relation with the United States and the relation with China.
Uh-huh.
So I told that person, well, I'll tell you. United States have the most important part of investment in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
The most quantity of tourists.
Mm-hmm.
The same values as we do in democracy.
Right.
We have 2.1 million Dominicans here
In the United
States.
Whoa.
We have an interchange of goods and culture, and none of those we have with China. So that's the equilibrium.
So we are together. We are together.
That's why we are so important.
What do you see?
The relation of the friendship with the United States.
What do you see as your mission?
I see, well, when you have such a close relation and so many interests in that relation, you always have misunderstanding. It's like a family.
That's where you come into the play.
That's my role. So
that's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, that's my job.
To smooth out the family
yes,
problems.
That's correct.
I read something in the paper recently. Well, it was a while back. I'll briefly say that a young man stopped someone in New York out of nowhere, and he said, "Tell me something about life." And the man kind of fished around. And he said, "Well, it goes by very quickly." And the young man just stood there, and he said, "No, tell me something about life." And the man said, "Well, be kind to people because everybody's going through something, you know?"
Yes.
So I kind of took that, and I used to ask people, such as yourself in interviews, about what was the most important lesson that they've learned in their lives. So I kind of put them together, and I'll say, "Tell me something about life, Madam Ambassador," and maybe couple that with, what's the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
Very simple. That everything passes by in life.
Tell me more.
So that today I'm here, but I know that I have to go back where I come from. So we have to do everything well to go back where I come from with the satisfaction of doing things correctly and well. And to see people the way I used to see it, those people before I came here.
Very simple, huh?
Very simple.
Madam Ambassador, you have given us such a wonderful, I can actually say a wonderful afternoon, because I think we will walk out of our conversation today with not one half-hour program, but 2 half-hour programs, which will give Americans the opportunity not only to learn about the country, but to learn about the country through you. And the warmth and the hospitality that you've extended to myself and to Rich and to Tony, our crew, are just absolutely a thrilling time for us.
No, for me it was a pleasure to have you, first of all, in my home, in the home of the Dominican Republic, and also to be able to talk to America through your program. Because we are America. We feel that we all are America.
Wow, what a lovely thing to say. Madam Ambassador.
Thank you very much, and have been a pleasure, and keep doing such a wonderful programs.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
For information about This Is America in the World, visit our YouTube channel, This Is America TV, visit our website, thisisamerica.net, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen to all of our ambassador interviews on our podcast, The Ambassador Series. It's available on our website and iTunes. This is America and the World is made possible by the Japan-America Society of Washington, D.C., the Republic of Uzbekistan, the Sultanate of Oman, the Kingdom of Morocco, 21st Century Citizenship, the Frank Islam and Debbie Dreisman Foundation, the Forerunner Foundation, the Rotondaro Family Trust, and the Embassy Series, uniting people through musical diplomacy.